Let's go, man. Y'all know what it is. Your OG Chris Murray back in the building, man. And for everybody that's just tuning in, we are heading into high stakes, and we're gonna pick right off where we left right off from the last episode where we went through picks 31 to 22. Now this list is gonna start getting into the meat of things because we're gonna start talking about those users who are going to be cracking the top 15 in the DML Madden 25 drafts. You already know, man. We ain't come here to hold y'all up. Let's dive right into these picks. All right, first up, we got T-Pain coming in at pick 21. He's the owner of the New Orleans Saints, and one thing I have to say about T-Pain and this squad, man, this was a team by far which was one of the worst, who had one of the worst rosters heading into Madden 24. So throughout this cycle, T-Pain definitely was able to put together some impressive wins, and I feel like in the division that he's in with Never Quit, C-Rob, and Nasty Noop, and those Atlanta Falcons, and the actual add-on addition to the rules for high stakes, this could probably put him in the right position, in a good position, to be kind of picking a little bit higher than 21. But right now, man, the mock draft has him picking at 21, so I'm definitely going to be paying attention to see what type of motivation that T-Pain's going to come out with seeing himself picking this low. Moving up next is T-Pain's division mate, C-Rob, picking at 20 with those Carolina Panthers. This is another user who came out, made it to the play. I think he made it to the playoffs twice this cycle. He made it to the playoffs last. No, he just missed the playoffs. I think C-Rob did make it to the playoffs last season. Yeah, he did make it to the playoffs last season, I believe. I think. I'm not sure about that, so don't hold me to that. But he did put together an impressive season. I believe he finished 10-6. This is another guy with the way that division is shaped. He could be picking potentially in the top 15. It depends if how well C-Rob's going to put, how well he's going to put together a solid season. Because sometimes when C-Rob plays, some users that he should be coming out stumping into the ground, he tends to let them hang around. So this is not the season where those W's that you have marked on your schedule, we all users do it, where they go look at their schedule week 1 of the preseason, and then you know that's a W, that's a W, and that's a W. It's going to be a tough matchup right here. This is a toss-up. However, the ones that's marked as W's, you have to come out and put those users away. And sometimes watching some of C-Rob's games, he tends to struggle with that. But I'm once again, I'm impressed to see what C-Rob is going to do, seeing that the mock draft has him picking at 20, which is late in the draft. Moving on next to pick 19, we got SJ and the Buffalo Bills. Now, it's been an up and down cycle for SJ, man. He had to drop a couple top players. But my thing is this right here, man. When you got a quarterback with the talent like Josh Allen, why does the mock draft have you picking at 19? There's something in Buffalo that they're not trusting. And is it Josh Allen? Is it SJ? Is it the running attack? I'm lost right now. But this is another user, man, he's in a heavyweight division out there in that AFC East that's loaded with top users in the DML. Back-to-back Super Bowl champ AJ with the owner of the Jets. Multiple banner holder, tight work with those Dolphins, who comes out every season competing for that number 1 spot in the AFC. And then you have Sweets 99 with those New England Patriots. So I can kind of see why the mock draft has him picking this late with a loaded division, and there's some question marks as far as on the roster. But once again, with the new add-on addition rules to high stakes, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what type of season SJ is going to have. Moving on next, we got Dub picking at 18 with the Denver Broncos. Now, this money was funny out there in Denver, but Dub, I don't know, man. I don't know if he can recover from that major blow that he just took, having to drop his superstar X Factor running back, and he lost the backup running back due to ownership problems. They checked the books. They seen that Dub was playing around with a little bit of the money, strip club, trips to Brazil. So I'm interested to see what type of motivation Dub's going to come out with, man, because he's one of them users, man, who can put together some impressive wins when you think that, you just cast Dub away. But right now, the mock draft have him picking at 18, but I'm definitely thinking that's going to be my sleeper team for high stakes, and he's going to definitely, potentially, possibly be picking in the top 10. Hold me to that. Moving on, next we got Expert, the owner of the Cleveland Browns, picking at pick 17. To be honest, man, I said this last show. Expert, he's my guy. Expert is a DML OG. But where the hell has Expert been? Milk carton coming out right now with Expert on the back of it, man. Where has Expert been, man? It's like this is a guy who loves to jump in the chat, chop it up with the guys, compete season after season. This year, man, this cycle, we haven't seen pretty much of Expert, but I feel like for all the OGs that have been around for a while, we understand what high stake is. So for all them AFC North guys, believe me, they're going to see a different Cleveland Browns, and I definitely know after hearing and watching the show, seeing himself being picked, marked down for being picked 17 in the draft, who's a guy who's used to picking in that top 15, the top 10, definitely going to give Expert some motivation, but I'm looking forward to seeing what type of season the Cleveland Browns are going to have in a loaded division out there in the AFC North. Moving on, next we got Bino, the owner of the Philadelphia Eagles, picking at pick 16. Wow, mock draft, what's going on here? This is a guy who just was competing in the NFC Championship against one of the top users in the DML. So let's talk about it. Bino, up and down season, but I feel like I know Bino's tricks, man. This is around the time when Bino starts to kind of put his foot on the gas pedal, because every cycle, it seems like from season 1 up until about season 4, making that high stake approach, you start seeing the real Bino. But however, the mock draft team feel like they still don't trust Bino, but this guy has a solid roster. He's in a division where it's kind of well balanced with Hot Tub, the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, who just took a major blow, losing Micah Parsons and losing a solid 99, 6'7" overall wide receiver. You have under 2 rated, who's kind of right there. But I feel like this is the time where Bino can kind of strike while the iron's hot, because he got a couple guys entering, couple division mates who's entering high stakes on a handicap. So I feel like definitely interested to see if Bino's going to take that NFC crown and possibly be picking in the top 12 or possibly the top 10. But moving on, next we have my division mate, Fave, the owner of the Los Angeles Rams. Now, this guy has himself picking at pick 15, but by far one of the most impressive moves I have seen this offseason. This dude brought in 2 stud wide receivers, 2 stud running backs, and did something that I have not seen a user do so to date in the DML. He changed up his quarterback for the last season. So I'm interested to see if all of these pieces is going to have the Los Angeles Rams finally make that playoff berth that he's been so dying to make, man. But you already know the Seahawks ain't coming out laying down. Looking for those battles and high stakes, man. But moving on next, we got the bus picking at pick 14. Now, I'm going to let y'all know, man. My 2 co-hosts couldn't join me today, but when we was behind the scenes, before we recorded last episode, the bus said, listen, the bus is pulling up in high stakes. And he stated, and he said, stamp it, mail it, priority ship it. He is winning high stakes. Now, I know it's a lot of users on this list that feel otherwise, but the bus said, let's go back. He ain't playing around, man. So I can see that motivation and that fire in the bus, because this is a guy, man, who by far is definitely top 5 user of all time in the DML, man. This dude ran the cycle. For some guys that don't know what that mean he was in the Super Bowl majority of the whole entire cycle. So there's only a few that had the pleasure of doing that. So Bus was definitely one of those guys. But let's talk about his team. Team is solid. Team is built the way that the Bus likes to win. Solid defense, solid ground and pound game. He brought in a good offensive lineman to help out with that, to beef up that O-line that was already good. So this is definitely going to be very interesting. And with his division mate, Embrew, man, who's one of top 3 DML users of all time, decided to, sell off to the sunset. Gonna miss you, man. But that NFC North is wide open. Wide open, man. And I know Bus is a competitive guy, but when he seen that the Packers was out in the sunset, that just helped justify his point that he stated. So I'm definitely looking to see, man, if anybody in that NFC North is going to rise up and challenge Bus for that division crown. But I definitely got Bus picking higher than the pick 14 with the Packers decide to sell off into the sunset, man. But let's see what's going on. Moving on next to pick 13. We got under 2 rated with the Washington Commanders, man. Picking at 13. This is another user, like I said about Bino. He's right there. And with his division mate Hot Tub taking those major blows to his roster, I feel like these are 2 users that got a strike. Because this guy is coming in a little bit handicapped. But, man, Commanders, let's talk about it. A solid user. Under is one of those guys where you just can't come out sleeping, man. If you come out and you're asleep behind the wheel, this guy is going to blow the doors off the hinges. Whether that's special teams, defense coming out, knocking your helmet off, causing multiple fumbles, INTs, or the offense in that solid rushing attack, or him just saying, F it, I'm going to just throw the ball up and let's just see who makes a play. I like the way Under plays, man. It has a very balanced style, and with the addition and the add-ons to the offensive play call being limited, I feel like this is a guy who takes a deep dive into his playbook, so I feel like that's going to kind of benefit him. But let's see. Pick 13, got you right there, Under, but I feel like this is another user I can see slipping into that top 10. But moving on next to the last pick on the list, which is pick 12, we have Vitamin, the owner of the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, last season, Vitamin seemed like he was, taking care of other obligations. But this is the season where I feel like Vitamin is going to wake back up, because he's in a solid division. But he just came off of a solid season of running up into the AFC Championship and falling short. So I feel like he's definitely going to come out with some motivation. With everybody already been talking about it, with a lot of inside zones, RPOs added inside of that Kansas City Chiefs playbook is going to make things a whole lot more difficult for users to defend. So I'm definitely looking to see Vitamin coming out, clicking on all cylinders, and let's just see what he do, man. But that's pick 21 through 12. Stay tuned. Make sure to drop a comment, man. Let us know how you guys feel about the users that we just went through. But make sure y'all tune in to the next show, because next show we will have a full house breaking down picks 11 to pick number 1. That's the show that I would not want to miss. But I'm your host, OG Chris Murray. We out.